Hey guys, this is Crystal. I'm in my bathroom. This message that I want to share, not really feeling good, so I'm okay. But this message is state property. Um, where I'm going with this one, state property begins with my childhood life. My mother, Beulah, beautiful black woman, black queen. She's always my mother. My mother started off as a singer at the age of 14, and she did her interview for Motown and everything. My mother was a woman that was blessed with tremendous many of gifts and talents. You know, she could play the piano, she could sing. That's who I wanted to be, a singer like my mom. And she was an artist, she was a businesswoman. I mean, like, she was everything all in one. And someone did something terrible to my mother, and she wasn't in her right mind. And so my mother was into religion, but still at the same time, she had some problems because of what happened to her in her past. And so my mother would go in episode where she would beat me and my brother Robert really bad, and CPS would call, and we became state property, in and out of the foster care system, in and out. And I noticed as I got older that the pattern was repeating with me in my 20s. Little did I know that there was a such thing called corrupt CPS, where basically they target low income black mothers that is raising their children alone. They target you, and especially if you don't have a man in your life and the father is gone, they target you. And I start to glimpse and notice the pattern in my mother's life, because they did my mother so cruelly wrong. The racist people back in those days, they kept putting her in mental health hospitals. They kept shooting her up with all type of medicine, and they even did shock treatments on my mother. And there was a time where my mother would go in episodes, and where she would look at us like we was demons, or she would tell me, I can't stand you because, you know, you look just like your damn daddy. I wish I never had you. And all these type of things, you know, that a young child is hearing. I grew up with nothing but negativity around me. That's why I try to stay as positive as possible with myself. And so I went through a period of in and out the foster care system, and you would think that the foster care system would be the best thing for a child. And actually there was some of the foster parents that was touching me as well. And this is starting from the age of 7, you know, and there was a good foster parent, but once you turn 12 years old, they will put you in a group home, and you're there until you're like 18 or 21. And so I noticed that, wow, I'm being targeted because I was working hard. I was working $3.25 an hour at a nursing home for about 18 years as a CNA in the medical field. And I would work hard, double shifts and everything. But I started noticing once my kids entered public schools, my children became like they would call me off of my job for anything, everything that you could have done over the phone. But see, I was a working single mother, and they was already watching me and targeting my children. And so I noticed that the generation pattern with my mother, with myself, and even with my daughters, they target us. And I started realizing state property. That means that the government, state property, and they evaluate you without your permission. They evaluate your children. They find a reason to take your children, your grandchildren away from you so they can run their free scientific studies from generations to generation, especially among the black women's. And this is something that I know I'm in a bathroom, so you guys excuse me, but I feel urgent to really say this because there's a lot of young black mothers that's going through things right now, and you think that it's you. it's not you. If you will go to Google and type in corrupt CPS, and you will find out that there is a lot of social workers getting paid off of your children that they can adopt out into the foster care system. So this is my message to especially a lot of young Black mothers. Go do the research yourself. There's a white lady that she was a white senator for Senate for Georgia. Her name was Nancy Schaffer. Look her up, and it will give you more insight as to why you feel like you're being targeted. Because your children, your grandchildren, is a money making for their corrupt CPS system. And I went through it even though I was a hardworking Black mother. Do you know how much bad things they put down on me on paper? And they do that to people. It doesn't matter how good and how good you try to do your best at taking care of your children, because they figure that you're state property. They could come into your home. They could snatch away your children anytime when they feel like it. They can violate your civil rights, your human rights. So this is a head up to you, because I have grandchildren that I'm fighting for right now, and I never wanted them to be state property. But it's amazing how my grandchildren is in this system, and all of a sudden I can't get my disability, and I feel like I'm being blackballed from any type of job I try to apply for or go on, and all of a sudden within 2 weeks there's a problem. And when I'm at work, I'm at work. So it's amazing. And they know that maybe through my disability, it is hard for me to hold a job down, not like I used to. And I know me, but racist scientists and racist CPS workers and racist state workers, because they're after the money, they will try to do your best. They will try to do their best to make you and your family look so bad in the public eyes to justify why they have deliberately hurted and wounded your whole entire generation of family. Peace out, y'all.